In their free time, entrepreneurs Mike and Stacy Healy enjoy spending time together. Over the years, they've developed multiple revenue streams from direct sales, marketing, consulting, and business solutions. They also loan capital to small businesses.
Over the last few years, with what everybody's been dealing with pandemic-wise, there are businesses that are on the verge of potentially going out of business. When banks can't do about 80% of the loans, we can do that kind of thing.
As newlyweds and young entrepreneurs, the idea they'd one day loan money was a fantasy. They just juggled debts.
We knew we wanted to be in business for ourselves, but we would try to keep our overhead super low. And when we needed something or when any emergencies came up, we would just charge it. When we got pregnant with our first child, we did not have medical insurance. We had to take care of it by our own means.
We got 2 cars on credit, we got diapers on credit, we got just about everything for quite some time on credit.
We were constantly trying to decide which bill should we pay first.
First 2 years, we'd accumulated maybe $35,000 to $40,000 worth of debt.
Stacy, raised in a Christian home, discovered a radio program that offered debt solutions. She and Mike followed up with an appointment for advice.
It wasn't all about budgeting either. Yes, there was part of that, but it was more of getting to the root cause of why we were depending on credit cards and loans versus relying on God to meet our needs.
At one meeting, Mike prayed with the advisor, a former businessman and pastor. Later at home, Mike had an encounter with God.
I was just kind of sitting there complaining to God. I'm trying to be an entrepreneur, want to have a family, that kind of thing. Literally, I felt like I caught on fire on my couch, and next thing you know, I just burst into tears. I just sat there and wept on my couch, and I didn't know what exactly happened, but it just felt like there was a freedom that just happened. It was pretty exciting, because then it was like a whole new path, and things really started to open up from that point on.
After that encounter, Mike surrendered his life to Christ. Stacy renewed her faith too. They started attending church and learned more about tithing and giving.
It says that he will put a hedge of protection around your stuff if you tithe, right? And you give offerings above and beyond that tithe. God himself says, test me in this. And so the way I looked at it was, okay, I'm going to test him in this. If it doesn't work, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Mike also embraced the biblical principle of giving and receiving after he gifted his van to a large family at church. Within 2 months, Stacy won a new special edition Corvette in a fitness contest.
We decided, let's take this, let's sell it, and we paid off debt. It was great.
They tithed off the sale of the Corvette.
And I remember going to church with that $4,000 tithe check, and I was like, this is what it's all about right here.
Then later on, he came back to me and said, did you realize this is Luke 6:38? The same measure you give, it will be measured back to you. So we sold a van and we got a vehicle in return. It was amazing when we realized that.
With $40,000 of debt paid off, the couple says their trust in God and his financial principles grew. They noticed that as they tithed and gave, they prospered in business. Once they pledged $50,000 towards their church's building fund.
I was getting some new business clients coming in with what I was doing at the time. We just kind of looked at each other and were like, hey, something has changed. And the only thing we've done was we started tithing.
After that, Mike believed God wanted him to give $10,000 a month for a year. Mike had just started a new business, and the pledge was equal to all his monthly income.
It was hard, but I knew that he had heard from God, so I just did it afraid.
By the time I'm probably 6 months into giving $10,000 a month, I am way past $10,000 a month in earnings.
Within the next year, their business sales revenue grew from $5,000 a month to $200,000 a month. Their income increased too.
It just skyrocketed. We knew it was God. We knew that it was part of the promise. We were faithful and obedient, and this was what was coming back because of that. It's a law. Every time we gave, it was out of thankfulness and worship to God. We just wanted to bless people a lot of times because we could, and we knew God would take care of us in return.
I would say for somebody who's never tithed, never given offerings, just read what it says in the Bible. It says, trust me. It says, test me in this. God says, it's like only place in the Bible God says, test him in it and see if he won't operate on your behalf and open up the windows of heaven and pour out such blessing you don't have room enough to contain it.